Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to episode number 205 of Mike in the Midwest, our mini podcast for the amazing patrons just like you of the Be Our Guest podcast. I hope you're having a great week. Of course, my name is Mike Roman, host of the Be Our Guest podcast. You can find me on the socials at Be Our Guest Mike. So that's over on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads. But you can find me daily where we have so much fun. And this week has had an explosion in new members over on the Be Our Guest Podcast Clubhouse. And you could join us. We have a special clubhouse just for the members of our Patreon group here, which you are a part of. So come on over and join us. It's beourguestpodcast.com/Discord. So we'd love to have you there. We talk Disney over there. Of course, we have different channels for the cruise line, for Disneyland, for Walt Disney World, for dining discussions, for the DVC members. We call that one Welcome Home. But we also have one called The Living Room, which has been taken over by hashtag ScottyG and his European adventures, as he is on Anthem of the Seas right now. And I believe right now he's in Norway. He had his first port day today. And he posted some pictures of a taco Big Mac, which I cannot get out of my mind right now because it looks so good. And he's living his best life on that ship, having a great time, doing a back-to-back cruise over in Europe. So come over and see what ScottyG is up to over there. And we have discussions about sports in the Sports Center channel. We have a channel called My Corner of the World, where everybody talks about what's happening in their part of the country, which is kind of what we talk about here on Mike in the Midwest. But we'd love to have you over there because it's a continuation of the Be Our Guest podcast. We have a channel that's called Current BOGP Discussion, where we talk about a show on a Wednesday, a Friday, a Monday. And then, if you have something you want to chime in, we just keep talking about what we talked about on the podcast. So it's a lot of fun, meet and greets for the listeners. And of course, we announced the next Be Our Guest podcast cruise, which we are going to be taking next July 6th through the 11th on the Disney Magic. That's going to be a new to us ship. We've gone on cruises for the Be Our Guest podcast cruise. We've sailed the Fantasy. We've sailed the Dream a couple of times. We've sailed what else have we sailed? We've sailed the Wish. Now we're going to sail the Magic. So that'll leave the Wonder as the only ship so far that we have not sailed. Excited to sail the Magic. I sailed the Magic way back when it was the only ship in the Disney Cruise Line fleet back in 98. God, I'm old. And we're excited because we're going to take this ship to Lighthouse Point and to Castaway Cay with a sea day. And we're going to have a great time. We have a lot of folks have already signed up, ready to go. We'd like to have you sail with us too. Shout out Trisha and her family sailing with us. So come on, join us. Just we have all the details in the Discord. We have a channel set up there. We're going to make a separate Discord server for that eventually once we get enough people going with that. But we're going to have a great time. I promise you that. So if you'd like to join us for that, come on over and get the deets there. But I promise the cruises are fun. They're chill because you got 5 days. It's like the clubhouse, but in person. We'll play trivia together. We'll hang out at the pools together. We'll hang out at the beaches together. Eat ice cream together, eat cookies too, at Castaway Cay together. It's just so chill. I mean, it's just no stress. See shows together. If you don't want to hang out together, you don't have to. You just go do your thing with your people. It's fun. It's so great. But anyway, we're gonna have a good time. So just glad you're here. Hope your week is going well. I'll be honest, today's show might not be the longest show. And again, this is supposed to be a mini podcast. When I started Mike in the Midwest, it's kind of a bonus just because you're supporting the Be Our Guest podcast. You're helping us keep the show going. We started this during COVID, and it really does help kind of cover the costs for everything we do here on the show. And I appreciate that so very much. The show is supposed to be 15 minutes. That was my goal because think about it. We put out more shows than any other Disney podcast out there. I know that we have a lot to listen to throughout the week. You got a Monday trip report. And then all of a sudden you get that show done maybe by Wednesday. And then Wednesday we hit you with listener questions for another 45 minutes. And then maybe you get that done by Friday. Then Friday we hit you with a topical show, but then we threw in a listener with a live replay of the Sunday night show. So then you get hit with that on Thursday. So I know it's a lot. So this show is never meant to be super long, like the length of the other shows, but I know that over the past few months it has become that. And I really don't want it to be that long. So it's not going to probably be 15 minutes today, but it's probably going to be a little shorter. And I'll tell you a couple of reasons. One is that I am trying to I don't want shows to get ungangly long, right? Because I know that podcasts should be tight and good. Like they should be efficient. They should be something good to listen to and leave you wanting a little bit more. At least I've been thinking about the shows I listen to, and that's what I like in a show. Like when it's over, I'm like, I wish there was a little bit more of it. I wish that podcaster would have given me a little bit more. But then I want more of the time. But then when I see the next show, I'm like, yes, yes, it's time for more of that podcast. I'm super excited for that. But also, I know there's other content out there, and I want to make sure that I don't hog your time, right? I get that you got a lot you want to listen to. There's a lot of variety, and so I understand that. And we have a lot of other shows to listen to, so I get that. Also, I will be honest with you. This week, I have been fighting a horrible migraine. Now, again, the show has turned into Mike falling apart over the past 2 or 3 weeks, right? Staph infection in the foot, fell on the treadmill because of a bad hip. On that fall, pulled a hamstring pretty severely. I still have not been running, and now the migraine has come back over the past 4 days. I have not been able to sleep. I've not been able to do anything. The migraine medicine is not working. It is just what was last week's show called? Life Comes at You Fast. It's still coming at me. I just hope I make it to the cruise in less than 2 weeks. I'm dying to go on the fans. I should not use that word probably at this point. Not a good word to use because I feel like I am. But when you're a podcaster and when you work on computers, migraine headaches are the worst. So I've been thinking, am I going to get down there to do Mike in the Midwest today? And here I am, because when you do a podcast, you have migraines. You're like, how am I going to do this? Because I don't want to have lights are not great. I have my ring lights on in here. Talking into a microphone is not the greatest thing, but hey, the show must go on, right? And I love you guys, so we're here, and we'll have our call-in show tonight. And I got to tell you too, is that, and the show's always gone on since 2008. Let's get real. I've had migraines throughout, the last 16 years of the podcast. Never missed a show. I've had a thrown out back. I've had all kinds of stuff. The show's going to go on. That's just how it is. You guys, we're a family, right? We make it happen. It's going to happen no matter what. We're going to be here. You guys have been there for me. I'm going to be there for you. Also, tomorrow, as we record the shows, because we record the shows on Monday, you guys know that by now. You guys are insiders. Simon from the UK is my co-host this week because Scotty G's over in Europe. Pam she's on a vacation. She's at a wedding this weekend in the Smoky Mountains for one of our other agents. Ricky can't make it. So Simon from the UK. I don't know if Sully's going to make a guest appearance and show his belly or not. It's going to be late at night over in the UK. It'll be like 10 o'clock. He'll probably be in bed. But Simon's going to join us for listener questions and for a topical discussion on international travel and whatever. Who knows what we'll talk about for the Friday show. You guys can help us out too. But join us. We're going to start the shows at about 3 o'clock Central Time, 4 o'clock Eastern. So if you want to be a part of that, come on over. We'd love to have you in the chat. We're going to have the phone lines open at that 4 o'clock time for the listener questions. So if you want to have a call-in listener question, we're going to mix it up this week with that too. So that is just something you guys know. So give us a call and we'll try that. Who knows? It'll be wild this week. So not only is Simon going to be there, we'll have listener questions with the chat room, with the inbox, and on the phone lines. So who knows what'll go wrong? Probably everything. But, that's me. And I try things. And other podcasts, they just do it right. We do it however we do it. We take chances. Doesn't always go right. Doesn't always sound perfect. But you guys accept us for some reason. And that's why I love you so much. So that's what's going on around here. We're getting ready for the cruise. We are less than 2 weeks away. I'll tell you what, ScottyG being on his cruise has me so excited to be on the Fantasy because that's my favorite ship. I love that thing. Oh my gosh, I cannot wait. I watched it sail away again yesterday. It's so beautiful. It's such a thing of beauty. I mean, we are so close. We are 12 days away from being on the Fantasy. Well, from being getting to Old Key West because we go there the day before. Yesterday, I got the green light to make it ADR for dinner at Olivia's. So at 5:20 on that Friday before we sail, we're sitting down at Olivia's. We're going to ask for the patio. I hope I get the patio because I love that. So we'll see there. It's all coming together. It's going to happen. Just got to get rid of this headache that I've had. It seems like I'm going to have it for the rest of my life because I've had it since Thursday. I've had it for 4 days. But once that goes away, smooth sailing, baby. We actually, here's one of the things, and I'm in a Facebook. I hate Facebook. I'm never on Facebook. If you ever know me and you leave me a Facebook message and I don't answer, it's not that I'm ignoring you. I never go on Facebook. I post to Facebook sometimes. It looks like I post to Facebook because when I post to Instagram, it goes to Facebook. So if you ever see, oh, Mike, you're on Facebook. When I post to Instagram, it also posts to Facebook. I do post to Instagram, and I like Instagram. It's because pictures. I'm like a kindergartner. I like pictures. But I did join about 3 months ago. I joined the Facebook group for our cruise because there's always a Facebook group for your cruise, right? And I just kind of lurked because I didn't want to like be active in it. And I was just kind of seeing like, okay, what's the jam? And it's all about fish extenders. And I'll be honest, I'll tell you what, hot take here. My wife hates fish extenders because it becomes like a second job. Like you got to make all these, and we're not trinket people. We don't like to bring trinkets home. My wife's very minimalist. She doesn't like junk in the house. She just know what to do with this. We don't have a very big house. We don't have like storage places. So she doesn't, we don't have a lot of room for stuff. So, and I'm kind of the opposite. So this is why we just can't do fish extender gifts very well. So it was mostly about fish extenders in this Facebook group. It was all about these different groups because there's like 100 different fish extender groups on our cruise. Like it's not just one big group. It's like teen groups and little kid groups and like couples fish extender groups and families. It was amazing. I had no idea. And then the ducks, that people are exchanging ducks, the little like the people with the Jeeps do. Because I get them in my Jeep all the time when my doors are off. Anyway, that's a whole nother culture. But what was I going with this with the Facebook group? I don't even know. But yeah, so on the Facebook thing though, it's funny because the questions you get in the Facebook group about your cruise. Okay, so we are like 2 weeks out. We're less than 2 weeks out. Somebody just posted about asking if they need to get a COVID vaccine in there. And people are asking if they can get a cabana on Castaway Key still. I mean, shouldn't you know that already? Like it's 2 weeks away. I don't know these Facebook groups. I just feel sorry like that they're going to get, I'm worried these people are going to get to the ship and not have documentation if they don't know these things. It 14 days prior to sailing. It makes me nervous. I don't know. Maybe it's a travel agent in me. I just get nervous when I see that kind of stuff. Like they're in a Facebook group. How do they find the Facebook group and they don't know this information? Like, oh my gosh. When I see them in the terminal, I just hope somebody points them through the ears and at least lets them get on the ship. So they'll probably, this good thing is like, they'll have a great time once they get on the boat. But man, it just makes me nervous when I see that. Like did they book any like spa appointments or tastings, or are they going to go to Palo or Remy or, you could still have a great cruise without any of that stuff, but it makes me nervous. And speaking of the Jeep, one last thing that the girls got me that I'm super stoked for. Maybe you saw the picture in the Discord. It's part of my Father's Day gift. Again, I'm the worst gift giver. My wife, best gift giver. She got me, and I have an old Jeep, which I love my old Jeep. It's a 2012 Jeep Wrangler, just basic Jeep Wrangler. It doesn't have any bells or whistles. It's got the crank windows. It's got it doesn't have any upgrades. It's the sport version, which is the sport version's your base model Jeep, which I love. It's got the soft top, which I love because you can take it off and everything. And right now, no doors, no windows. It's just you drive it and it's fun. She got me, because it was filthy, a mobile detail of my Jeep for Father's Day. And they were going to come out last Thursday, but it was so stinking hot that the guy had to cancel because it was over 100 degrees heat index. And he said he can't because of the chemicals would overwhelm him. But he came yesterday morning, super early, and had this truck and trailer. And it took him like 3 hours. I pulled my Jeep into the driveway and he like took out the floor mats and did the carpets and like cleaned the rims. Outside, inside, everything. My Jeep looks brand new. And this thing is 2012 and it probably had been washed in 5 years, especially the inside. In our old house, we didn't even have a garage in our old house. We had a carport. And so I used to just park my Jeep with the no top, no doors under the carport. So it got all kinds of stuff from like, just the pollen and the leaves would fall in it and stuff from, years and years. Now, finally, we moved out here in 2019. We got a garage. We're high living now. We have a garage. So I get to park my Jeep in a garage. But I'm so pumped. It smells like Armor All in my Jeep now. Like it is so shiny and slick. Like last night we took it with Riley in the back seat to go get Dairy Queen, and the clutch. I know a lot of you can't drive a stick. See, that's how I can get you on the Amazing Race. I can drive a stick. I went to hit the clutch and it was so slick. My foot slid off because it must have Armor All the pedals, the brake, the gas, and the clutch. So it's slick. Okay. So it's just sweet, sweet gift. So shout out to my wife. That was pretty sweet because, you got to think about different kinds of gifts when you get old, right? And a mobile detail of the car. Like I fell in love with my Jeep again, even though it's got over 100,000 miles. That was really sweet of her. Anyway, let's talk about last week. Life comes at you fast. And John Luther, my good friend, I've been talking a lot this week via email. Love talking with John. Says, it's so tough to stop the routine when it comes to workouts. I too will usually keep going when it comes to injuries, but sometimes you just have to stop and heal properly. I'm on my 6th week of not even walking on the treadmill and just hope I'm able to get back into it 2 weeks to prepare in 2 weeks to prepare for marathon weekend. Yeah, me too. I'm hoping I want to run on the cruise, and I'm hoping maybe to get back to running in the next like week. That's my plan. If this headaches go away, the hamstrings feeling better, a little bit better. I'm glad that you had a happy Father's Day. I don't know the song you mentioned, but I recall when my now 15-year-old daughter was only 6 weeks old. Oh no. Oh, you told me in an email and this song wrecks me. I just read ahead. Along the same lines, I heard Darius Rucker's "It Won't Be Like This for Long" for the first time. I'm not historically a crier, but man, were my eyes puffy after that. It does all go by too quickly, and we have thankfully been aware of that since near the beginning. Always have to pause and enjoy time with the kids, and I'm thankful that we still have a few more years with both of ours before college starts. Oh my gosh. Okay, so that song is on my playlist. I love Hootie. That's my favorite song by him. That is such a great song. Oh my gosh, I love that song. Where it talks about there's a line in that song where he drops her off at daycare and the daycare teacher says, just go. It'll only be like this for a couple days. And that hit because the daycare teacher told me that, like she won't even realize you're gone in a couple days. Yep. It won't be like this for long. Oh my gosh. I love that song. That is a good song, but next thing you know, just telling you, get you. All right, Trisha, hope you're drying out up in Wisconsin. We're sailing July next year. Here we go. Can't wait. Lorelei, get ready. You're killing me there, John, with that one. How you doing that to me on the first feedback? Trish says, you're selling yourself short, Mike. I love Mike in the Midwest. You're building a stronger community as it allows us all to share about ourselves. Also, maybe consider a stationary bike. You can raise your heart rate pretty well, and you're less likely to fall off. Oh my gosh. Trisha, Pam and I were just talking about getting a stationary bike to share as we were on one of our walks 2 nights ago. She said, what about a bike? She says, your knees would appreciate it, your back would appreciate it, and you would not fall. So I got to give you a bell. You and Pam were on the same wavelength. You're going to have to talk at dinner on the cruise because we're talking about getting a stationary bike. That's exactly right. Trish continues, my husband is frustratingly difficult to buy gifts for that I finally caved and he buys himself gifts now. This Father's Day, he bought himself steps for his Jeep. He also takes a pilgrimage to the meat store and buys way too many things to grill, which is easy to do as our local meat market makes over 100 kinds of brats. I will say their meat market is awesome because they shared some brats with us down in St. Louis. And it is awesome. And some like stuff that you can put in your Coke, and it's super good. I forget, it's cherry stuff. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Vodka, I think it was. Trisha, you guys are the bomb. We're gonna have so much fun. I'm so excited to sail with you. Oh my gosh, we're having so much fun. Thanks for the feedback. And finally, Francesca, it's been too long. Happy Father's Day. She says, Mike, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed your day. I saw the frame on Instagram, and I'm sure it choked you up to receive such a thoughtful gift. As my mom always says about raising kids, the days are long, but the years are short. So true. I felt bad for you listening to the mishap on the treadmill. I wish you a speedy recovery. Quick question about Jeeps. I often hear about people getting rubber ducks on Jeeps. What's the story behind that? I I don't know because I don't give them out. I should probably return it. Like I have actually, because people when we drive them around, like where I live, we have a place in St. Charles. I live in a place called St. Charles County, Missouri, which is a big county. We have a historic part of our town that's right on the Missouri River, and it's where Lewis and Clark in the Louisiana Purchase launched their exploration of the Louisiana Purchase after Jefferson bought the land. And so right at that point, we have a historic Main Street. It's very much like Main Street USA like a Magic Kingdom or Disneyland. It's got a confectionery, it's got ice cream shops, it's got a lot of antique stores, it has restaurants. It's really cool. It's got like the barbecue. If you're ever in St. Louis, that's where you need to go. They do Christmas all kinds of Christmas characters at Christmas time and Halloween time. They have a Halloween. It's really, really cool. If you ever come here, Christmas or Halloween, you got to go to historic Main Street in St. Charles, right on the Missouri River. It's beautiful. But what I was saying is, if you go there, people drive their Jeeps there, and we go there to eat a lot. And so I'll just drive my Jeep there, and a lot of people drive there, and I don't have my doors or windows on, so you just park your Jeep there and open access, right? You'll come back from dinner, people would put ducks in your Jeep, and so like the duck will be sitting on your stick shift or sitting on your dashboard or sitting in your seat, and it'll have a little tag like you've been ducked, or you've been Jeeped or something. And they say who they're from or whatever, but I guess I should buy ducks and like duck other people. I don't know. I just usually give out the ducks that people give me. I just pass them on. But it's a thing. I should look it up. I don't know where it started. Now they're doing it on cruise ships like crazy. And like some cruise ships are banning the ducks because people are going like aggressive, like trying to find them, and they're destroying things on ships. It's a cruise ship thing now, like big time. So who knows? Anyway, today's topic, which the show is not going to be any shorter because blah, 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 I keep talking like I always do. This week, it's going to be smoking hot in St. Louis, in Missouri, in St. Charles County, where I live. So yesterday, heat index over 100. The last couple of days, heat index over 100. Today, we're getting a break. The heat index is only supposed to be like 98. But tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, the air temperature is going to be over 100, and the heat index on Tuesday, they're saying may reach 110. It's going to be like you don't even want to go outside to get the trash bin to bring it back in on Tuesday. It's going to be that hot. But here's the deal. This made me think of when we were kids. When I was a kid, and again, I'm going to sound super old here, but in our old little house, because we had a starter house on St. Daniel Lane until I was in 6th grade, we didn't have central air. We had an air conditioning window unit that was in our kitchen. That when it got really hot like this, you just kind of sat in the kitchen under that thing and just like, that was the only spot that really got cool. It didn't cool the whole house, but it cooled that part of the house. And I just remember sitting under there like, ooh. And I remember one day when it was like super hot, like we couldn't find my dad when we got up in the morning. My dad was in the backyard on the Chaise Lounge. Because it was so hot in the house, he just decided to lay in the backyard on the Chaise Lounge. And like we woke up, we thought he was gone. But he just got so hot he couldn't handle it anymore in the house. And he was out back. I just remember it was so funny. I was little. We just thought he just left. But I guess he just couldn't handle it anymore. And the house was too hot. We did have an attic fan. I don't know if attic fans are things like where you are, but it's this fan that was kind of in the main hallway of our house. And you'd turn it on, it would go, whoo. I mean, it was really loud, but if you open the windows up throughout the house, it would really suck in a nice draft. And I mean, it really did cool the house down well. I mean, everybody around us had attic fans, and people started to get central air around us when I was a kid, but everybody got it before us. We just had a window unit. But what I want to talk about today is, as we were kids, the 80s I mean, smoking hot, middle of the summer survival kit that we had. And here's the things that I remember that we did to counteract the heat as kids in the summer. And the one thing I'm going to throw out that we always used as kids to counteract the heat, bomb pops. Did you guys have the bomb pops? And I'm talking about bomb pops. I'm talking about those things you would get. You could either now some parents got them at the grocery store, but we always got them from the ice cream man that would come around in the white van. Now this was the kind of van we had in our neighborhood. Your van could vary. It was just like a regular white van that had like on the one side like the menu, and it would play music. You could hear it like you're always like you'd hear it off in the distance. Like, okay, where is he? Is he in our neighborhood? Is he coming this way? And you'd try to like a bat. You try to use like echolocation. Okay, and then we'd get on our bikes. We have to go get money from our parents real quick. Like, oh, we hear the ice cream man. Everybody go to their parents and we'd meet back. Then we'd be like, okay, get on your bike, and we'd try to find them. We'd ride and we'd do echolocation. Like, is he that way? Is he this way? Where finally we'd get him. And then once we found him, we'd, buy, but we'd always get a bomb pop especially around the 4th of July, because it's patriotic, right? Because the bomb pop was red, white, and blue, and it looked like a rocket. So it was like total ice, but it was red, white, and blue. It looked like, yeah, you guys know what a bomb pop is, right? I mean, it was so good. It was like cherry, white cherry, and blueberry on the bottom or something. But we had those all the time, especially I'm talking like in the heat of the summer, like right now, around the 4th of July. So we always had those. What did we drink? I was trying to think, what did we drink to survive in the heat of the summer? Two things. One, we drank out of the garden hose. I mean, we drank out of the garden hose like it was going out of business. I don't think kids drink out of the garden hose anymore. Like, do they? With the word they're going to get lead? I've never seen anybody drinking out of the garden hose. We drank out of the garden hose like it was just. I mean, that's in the summer. We did all the time, all the time. I mean, because like we played wiffle ball, we played kickball. We were always like, you need a drink, you just went to the hose. I mean, nobody wanted to take the time to go inside. Plus, if you went inside and like you were playing something, you had grass on your feet, you'd always get yelled at by a parent, especially if you were like on a slip and slide and your feet were wet and you had like sticky grass on your. No, you just drank out of the hose. Did you guys? I mean, I hope you drank out of the hose. I mean, look how we turned out. We became weird podcasters. I don't know. That's what we did. We probably did get a lot of lead. That's probably why we are the way we are. The other thing we drank, and I see this meme on on social media from time to time, and it is true. My grandma had Gatorade. My grandpa actually Gatorade, but it was in glass bottles back then. And I am not kidding. And it wasn't like in 5,000 different flavors. It wasn't like Gatorade, raspberry, shock ice, whatever, 7 different names for it. It was just lemon lime, and it was in the glass, like liter glass jug, and that stuff tasted so good. And the thing was, here's the other thing: when my grandpa would finish the Gatorade in the glass jug, and it had like a texture to it too. It was like there was a texture to that glass jug, and had the like orange metal cap. And when he finished it, he'd always put water in it. So you'd have the Gatorade one in the fridge, and you have the water one in the fridge, and that water would be ice cold, man. You go in there, you just drink right out of it. I don't know. That was legal in my grandma's house. I guess it was like community. It was legal. I'm probably not sanitary. I mean, you were thirsty and just drink it. Like you come over for a bike ride, get you right to the fridge, boom, chug some Gatorade or water. And I mean, it was just ice cold. It'd burn your tonsils if you had them. So that was one of the things we did. Another thing that my grandma always had for survival in the summer, in the heat of the summer, and I mean, we ate a ton of these suckers. She always had ice cream sandwiches. They weren't expensive ice cream sandwiches, I guess. I don't know. But she had them in her freezer, and they weren't very big, but they were like little ice cream sandwiches, little rectangles. And you just take them out, and she'd always give these things out. She had those. And another thing she had, now, I don't know where, I never see this anymore. I don't know where she got this, but we'd always have this after church. But we had this like as a treat when we'd come over, like, and it would be super hot too. It was called ice cream cake roll, I think it was. It was like a swirly thing that was cake and ice cream in like a swirl. She called it newlywed. I don't know. My grandma called it newlywed. My grandma called a lot of things by different names. She called it a newlywed, but it was like an ice cream cake roll. And we'd have like a slice of that. Like when we come in like at 3 o'clock in the afternoon after playing wiffle ball, she'd like give everybody, it'd be like a big roll. And it'd be like, she'd give everybody like a piece of it. It kind of looked like a little Debbie Swiss roll, but it was like ice cream and cake. Dude, that thing was so good. I only associate with that like in the heat of the summer, we'd have that, or after church. We'd have that sometimes after Sunday dinner after church. That thing was so good. Now, the other thing I could think of that we did to survive the heat of the summer was we would always hide out in somebody's basement. Like that was one of the only few times we really did play like in somebody's basement. Like we'd go down there because it was like dark and cold, and we'd like dig out all board games, and because it was like almost like a cave, right? You go in there and you'd be like, oh my gosh, like we found Battleship or we found Operation or Perfection. Remember that game where you put all the pieces in and pow, it'd pop out and give you anxiety to this day, freak you out. But like as kids, we always want to play kickball, wiffle ball, and all the balls, or frisbee golf or hide and seek. We are always outside riding bikes, whatever. We'd never want to be inside. But I mean, oh my gosh, when it got to be like 110 heat index, we didn't know what heat index was outside when we were kids. We just knew it was like too hot to be outside. And if we couldn't swim or slip and slide, we're just like, oh my gosh, we'd go into a basement and we would play like board games for like a minute and just escape the heat in somebody's basement. And we just like dig through old games. Sometimes you'd find games from like your parents or grandparents. You didn't even know, like, they're classics, right? You're like, what's this all about? And you mess with them for a little while, then, get dark and then you go back outside because it wasn't so hot. That's kind of how it worked. That's how you discovered like old games, right? And that's what we did. I think I found like my grandpa's like old, like 80-in-1 kit from Radio Shack where you build electronic stuff. And my buddy Ryan and I messed with that, like made a light bulb light up. And we thought that was the coolest thing ever. I love those things, old Tandy stuff. That was so fun. I mean, kept us busy probably for 20 minutes. Well, it was like 100 degrees outside. Yeah, so I mean, just kind of stuff like that. And the other thing, how we did this was we would play like into the night. So we would just in my backyard, at my house growing up, first house before sixth grade, we had like my dad put up a floodlight in our backyard. So we would play kickball and wiffle ball and all the balls like at night. So when it got to be, dark, it'd cool off, right? So we'd play under the lights, like the big stars. So now you wouldn't really play wiffle ball as well because it was kind of hard to see the ball, but we transitioned to kickball and soccer and the games where it's easier to play at night and the whole neighborhood would be over. And there was like an energy of playing at night. You bring out your little Grand Prix radio. Remember those like radios that were made by Grand Prix? You thought you had something, but they were probably $29. But I mean, you put in like your, I don't know, the Dirty Dancing soundtrack or Footloose or something, or just listen to your local radio station. Oh, yeah, those were the days and we didn't even know it. It was so much fun. But you would just kind of wait out the heat. Once that sun started going down, you'd have the lightning bugs come out. We had tons of lightning bugs where we lived. I don't know about you. The cicada invaded. They're gone. Oh my gosh, cicada are totally gone. We survived. God, they were crazy here for a couple of weeks. But they're gone now. But the cicada would always come and we'd always have that. That was like the soundtrack of summer around here. And it still is. We got that, but the major cicada are gone. But that was just like, those were the times. Like that would like one day would just go into the next. And summer just felt like it went forever as kids. It was beautiful. But you didn't care about the heat. Like you kept going. You just ate bomb pops and you just went to grandma's and out of the glass jug of Gatorade, or just grabbed the hose and just got a drink and moved on. Like you never complained about the heat. You just adapted, but you ate ice cream sandwiches and stuff like that. But what I want to know is like, how did you, like, what was I know we have listeners that are down in Florida and listeners in Maine and listeners in Washington State, Arizona and Texas and Iowa and Nebraska. I want to know, Wisconsin, what was your survival kit for like the dead of summer as a kid? What did you do? to get through the summer when you were a kid? Like what were your strategies? What were your go-tos? Because when this next show comes out, it's the dead of summer. It's right about the 4th of July. So let's hear about it. Let's talk about it next week. All right. Live show tonight. Give us a call. It's just me, so I need calls. So let's do it. I appreciate you guys being here. All right. We're going to jump out of here. We'll do this again next Sunday. So until we talk again, you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you real soon.